What's up, Radiant Icons, and welcome back to Dare to Be Iconic, the podcast made for icons daring to be themselves. I'm your host, Amanda Pellicelli, and you guys, it's been a while. It's been a while since we've done a solo tea time sesh, but you know what that means. That means the tea is piping hot and it's ready to be spilt. Yes. Yes, indeed. I have lots of tea from my first solo trip. That's right, everyone. Your girl did it. She fought her fears of flying by herself, and she did it. Not because she wanted to, it's because she had to for her day job. But anyway, I did it. I basically fought fear, and I can do the scary things now. Truly, it was a really amazing experience having my first solo trip, and maybe it wasn't because I wanted to, and it wasn't because I was ready. I had to be ready for it, but I'm so glad that I was forced basically to fight my fears. I never thought my little Florida booty would be in the Midwest during the winter. But I was there during it, and we survived and we saw snow. We actually had a lot of amazing firsts, which is what this tea time sesh is all about, which is experiencing all these amazing once in a lifetime experiences for the first time, like meeting my coworkers for the first time in person because I work in a remote environment. Yes, I have a regular 9 to 5, and it's been fun, but I work in a remote environment and I don't really work with anyone besides my boss because I'm an executive assistant to the head of the organization. And I don't really get to interact with the team as much as maybe other departments. So it was really interesting still being new because I'm a very new hire, and being able to meet everyone after a couple of months of being on the team and kind of working by myself for the majority of my time working there. So it was fun, and something really rejuvenates the soul about being in person. And then on top of that, not only did I get to meet all my coworkers for the first time, I flew by myself for the first time, I saw snow for the first time, I was working an event at a much higher attendee volume than I have ever have experienced. It was insane being able to work with literally so many people, whether that's exhibitors, sponsors, attendees, so on and so forth. Like the capacity of how many people were at this conference, and I was working behind the scenes of it and seeing like all the work that we've had since January to now in November, and being able to work in person with everyone and figure out that groove of working with your coworkers for the first time, and then meeting all these other new people and working an event at this scale. Like there's a lot of firsts going on, you guys. And you know what? I'm here to spill the tea about all of it. But with that being said, that's a lot of chaos and that's a lot of busyness, especially right before the holidays. Like it's Thanksgiving here in America, or it's just ended actually, but while we were prepping for the conference and why the conference was happening, it was the week before Thanksgiving. Like, you guys, that's a lot. And then we have December, which is personally my favorite month of the year because it's my birth month. National Amanda Day is December 19th. So you already know December is going to be jam packed. And we also have like my sister's graduation, and we have Christmas and New Year's. Like December is crazy. So it's like all these amazing firsts are happening in the midst of chaos and hecticness and busyness. So it's like, how do you protect your energy? How do you not burn out when all of this amazing, crazy, thrilling stuff is happening all at the same time? Well, you guys are in for a treat, Radiant Icons, because I am spilling the tea on how you can protect your energy, how you can avoid burnout, and also enjoy everything that's going on in this amazing, crazy experience that we call life. But before I spill all the tea, make sure to connect with me on socials. And if you are looking for iconic gifts for the holiday season, then look no further than Dare to Be Iconic's best-selling products, New Year Iconic You, the 2025 planner to living your most iconic life. And break up with the past, fall in love with the future, your 5 step guide in turning your pain into power, the self healing guided journal. Those two products are available on Amazon and ready to ship internationally. And I hope you guys love it as much as I do. Like, you guys, I love me a planner, I love me a journal, and I hope you love Dare to Be Iconic's journal and planner. But, anywho, enough with the chit chat. Let's get to the tea. Are you ready, Radiant Icons? Because your tea time sesh is starting now. Now, I know you guys probably know this about me by now, but if there is one thing about me, is that I will always find a way to pull lessons out of every type of scenario or situation that happens to me. And this solo trip was no different. Shocker! There was no difference in me being able to pull lessons out of multiple situations that happened to me on this trip. And if you guys followed my stories on my Instagram, you know that there was a lot of tea. And I never spoke about what truly happened because I was waiting for this episode. I was waiting for this episode specifically to talk about the situations happening, but also the lessons that I took from them. And there is no better way to start a tea time sesh than sharing the lessons and the stories that built the idea of this very episode. So let's get into it, you guys. Here are my 5 lessons from my first solo work trip. Let's get into it. So I'm gonna start this a little bit different than I usually do with like my lesson recaps. I'm going to talk about lessons 1 and 2 together because they go together in the story. Lesson 1 and 2. 1, no one has the power to make you feel small. 2, if someone does not like you, that's on them and not you. Now, it is no shocker to me that I'm not everyone's cup of tea. I know that. I know that not everyone is gonna like me. And I'm okay with that because I love who I am and I will not change who I am for anyone. With that being said, in this particular situation that happened, it was like a ghost from my past came back to haunt me. In this particular instance, I'm starting a new chapter of my life, right? I'm with a new organization. I'm not with my prior employer, and I will never say anything bad about my prior employer because I learned a lot there. However, I can now, being in a new work environment and a new organization, see that the work environment from my previous employer was not the best for my mental well being or just like in general. It was not. I can say that. And maybe at a later on, or maybe at a date later on, maybe I talk more about it, but it's still a sensitive subject to me because a lot of stuff happened that when you're first starting your professional development journey, it's like your first big girl job out of college. You really don't know what's going on, and you kind of are just like going with the flow and you're learning on the go. And in that particular job, I was definitely learning as I went. And I'm so grateful for that. But there were definitely situations that happened or that I was put in that I definitely shouldn't have dealt with, that I definitely shouldn't have been put through. And I can now clearly see that. And also at the end of my employment. But you know what? That's a story for another time. However, going into that, I know that not everyone I work with, I know that not everyone that comes across my content or maybe meets me in person is going to like me. And that's okay with me. But we have to be able to work together in a civil fashion. Like we have to be able to be professionals about it. We have to be able to be adults. And in this specific situation that happened, I personally felt like my past, something from my first job in that very toxic environment, was coming back to slap me in the face. It kind of forces you to deal with all the emotions that you've been like burying down for so long. Like it's tricky and it's hard. And in that moment, I knew that one, I was never going to change that person's mind on how they think of me. And two, that person, no matter what their personal feelings for me are and that I'm aware of them, that person does not deserve the right to make me feel inferior. No one deserves to make you feel small. And in that moment when everything was happening, because I hadn't dealt with it well, right? I didn't deal with the trauma, right? We're going back to trauma and boundaries, everyone. I didn't deal with the trauma that I experienced in my previous job, like being in a toxic, unhealthy work environment. I didn't deal with that trauma. I kind of just pushed it down and like kept it like bottled inside. The way I chose to react in the privacy of my hotel room was allowing someone else to have so much control of my narrative. And what is the one thing that I have told myself since the beginning of this Dare to Be Iconic journey? That no one, no matter who the hell they are, will ever have the power to define me, will ever have the power to write my story. And in that moment, I was letting that person win. I was letting them dictate my emotions and my feelings and the way that I was moving about my space. And so when my boss told me no one deserves your tears, that's when it clicked for me. That's when that mindset switch happened. And what I also learned is that I need to deal with some shit I didn't deal with, which I think is popping up a lot more as we continue on in season 2. I realized, there's a lot of little boxes that I haven't uncovered yet that I need to kind of deal with. I didn't realize how much the trauma that I endured in my prior employment really affected me. And it took that moment to realize it. Amanda from summer 2020, who started that last job, like, she would have never, ever ever been able to have that self-awareness and mindset switch in such a quick turnaround time. Like, she would have never seen the positive in really cloudy, unfortunate situation. And that growth is something that I'm proud of. And I think that's important to recognize, but also know and hold myself accountable that I do need to continue on working on this specific instance. I need to deal with it. I feel like I say that every episode. Like, I feel like I'm like, I need to deal with this. I need to deal with this. Like, it's always a different thing I need to deal with. But you know what? That's growth and accountability, you guys. I guess that's good, right? We're having the hard conversations and I'm coming to a lot of realizations, and I hope you guys are as well. But that's my lesson 1 and 2 for you guys. Don't let anyone make you feel small. Don't let anyone make you feel inferior. And if they do not like you, that's on them. That's on them, babe. That's not on you. All right, let's get to lesson 3. You can do the scary things. It's the fear that is holding you back. Ain't that the truth? For the longest time, I was convinced that I cannot travel by myself, that I was not capable of doing it. I don't know where I fed this lie into my psyche and made myself believe it. Like, I don't know where it started, and I know I have a lot of anxiety around traveling in general. Specifically with flying, I always relied on someone else to navigate the way. And now it was up to me to be a big girl, to put on my big girl pants and figure out how to fly by myself. And to me, that was terrifying, anxiety inducing, and I wanted to crawl out of my skin and sob. But coming back in one piece, I can say I can do it. I fought fear and I can fly by myself. I was able to handle it. I didn't get on the wrong plane. I was able to like literally do everything and anything by myself. And so, you know what? I did it. I did it. And I'm so proud of myself for that because that was scary, you guys. I had to acknowledge the fear. I had to work through it, but I also had to push through it in order to get to my final destination, to move forward in what I needed to do. And in that case, I had to get to this conference because it was a work obligation. It was not optional, you guys. I had to do it. So I needed to fight the fear and do the scary thing. And even when I did deal with the situation that I did coming from leaving Columbus and coming back to Orlando, like I still got through it. So like let's actually chat about that real quick. So If you guys didn't see my Instagram story, it was like, I want to say it was the day of the Las Vegas Grand Prix. I was coming back, and it was like a late night flight. It was the only flight that I could find out of Ohio to Orlando. So I was already like tired. I was already over it. I was like, please, like, I just want to get home. And so I was with my coworker, and the Columbus, Ohio, like airport, like their international airport, is super, super small, right? So like even if I wasn't with my coworker because we had a flight like around the same time, I definitely would have been able to like handle it myself. Apparently when they did my like DMV, like my license photo, and again, I just got my license in November of last year. So it's not like it's old, like it's new. It is so new. I look exactly like my picture. But anywho, I went through 4 TSA agents because the biometrics didn't match my driver's license photo because whoever took it at the DMV left this like light on my forehead, and the biometrics don't match the photo, so they were giving me so much trouble. And when it came to like the third person, I was getting a lot of anxiety. She told me, "Oh, well, if you don't have another form of photo ID, then you're going to be stuck here." And I lost it. Oh my God. Like when I tell you I burst out into sobs, like uncontrollable sobs, looking like an actual hot mess express. Like you guys, like it was so bad. And so she told me that. And she was doing the most because again, those biometrics are optional. Like you don't have to do them, but she was doing the most. And I think she got off on like the power that she had because she did the most, you guys. Like it was, oh my God, it was so bad. So like there I am sobbing. My coworker's like already on the other side of security. I was like, oh my God, like this is horrible. And like I had enough time. Like I had enough time to get to my gate and like pre-board, like everything. But like still, she told me I was gonna be stranded there. And I said, there's no way. There is no way I'm gonna be stuck in Columbus, Ohio, of all places. Like, absolutely not. Like, I just want to be home. Then it took the fourth TSA agent, which was like an older gentleman, who literally was like, "It's okay, like, it's okay, we got you, like, don't even worry about it, like, it's okay. Do you have, like, a work ID or something on you? Just show me that and you'll be fine." But, like, that lady, that third lady, she needs to not because there I was, 25 years old, looking like a hot ass mess, crying my eyes out because she told me I was gonna be stranded because I didn't have another form of ID. So, a little bonus lesson here for you guys is always bring two forms of photo ID when you travel because you don't want to be like me trying to get home at like 4:30 at night to get on your 6 p.m. flight and basically be told you're going to be stuck in Columbus, Ohio. So figure it out. So yeah, always come with another form of photo ID, you guys. Like what? Like only that shit would happen to me, you know? But anyway, let's get to the next lesson. Oh my God. My last lesson for you guys is be a sponge and soak in everything you can. Now, I think what's really cool about the current job that I have now within my organization is that I am being exposed so early on in my professional development to individuals that have this like wide range of knowledge and talents, and they're sharing it with me because I'm learning through them, right? I'm getting a master class from experts in their field and also being able to not only apply that into the work that I do for my day job, but also to dare to be iconic. I tell my boss this like all the time. Like the way she conducts herself in meetings, like to me, that's like a master class in being a boss. She's owning her space. Like she is an icon. And I've told her this multiple times that she's an icon. Like seeing the way she conducts herself in meetings, seeing the way that she moves about situations and how she, handles certain scenarios, that's amazing to me. And I'm able to soak that in and take that in and apply it not only to the work that I do there, but to dare to be iconic. And I know that it's only making me a stronger individual, but also a stronger businesswoman. And I'm so lucky that I landed exactly where I am now and that I get to have these experiences. But just in general, like sometimes we feel like even if it's not like a job that we want or a class that we want to take, right? Sometimes it's things that we have to do in order to survive. But every situation, every scenario that you end up being in, whether it's working at a grocery store or working at a theme park and you really don't want to do that, or taking this class but you really don't want to take this class because you'd rather be taking another class but you have to take this one because of your major, right? Like all these things that we really don't want to do, but like we're doing it because we have to. All of those things are transferable skills. Like every single thing that we do, we can be a sponge and soak it in and apply it to other aspects of our lives as we move forward. If there is one thing you take away from this episode, please let it be this: be a sponge and soak in everything you possibly can. Even when you don't think it's gonna help you in the long run. It does, you guys. I promise you, it does. So, within all these lessons comes a lot of growth, right? And with a lot of growth, you have to be able to sustain it in order to propel forward, right? In order to move forward in this self discovery journey. And I think the biggest thing that kind of gets overlooked when we are trying to sustain the growth that we've accomplished, we need to be able to protect our energy and basically avoid burnout, because in these high pressure situations, or even these situations where there's a lot of noise around it or a lot of chaos, or it's just a really busy time of year, right? A lot of things are go, 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 go. You can lose yourself in the process. And we have to make sure to take that time for ourselves, protect our energy. I hate burnout. And like it's to the point of you physically worked yourself so hard that you're just like done. Right? And we want to avoid that because we're trying to move forward, and we're trying to move forward in a healthy way. And I, for one, definitely have burned myself out. Like, please. I'm literally a small business owner and I have a full time job on top of that. I've definitely burned myself out, you guys. Like, let's be so for real, but like we all have, right? So, how do you protect yourself? Like, it's hard, but here are some of the tips that I've written down that I've actually used in my real life that has made a difference for me. In my opinion, the first step to avoiding burnout is recognizing burnout before it happens. It takes time to be able to take notice of those patterns and behaviors within yourself. So it's not easy and it's not a quick fix, but we just have to keep working on these things until we can recognize it and be able to put these practices into place. For me personally, like my personal signs of burnout are that I am so unmotivated to do anything and that I'm paralyzed with anxiety. Now, it's a little tricky because I do have anxiety. My body reacts differently to burnout anxiety as compared to regular anxiety or other anxieties that I have. The way that burnout anxiety feels or shows up for me is being paralyzed with the fear of not wanting to do anything and just like sitting in it. I physically cannot do anything because I am so tired. And for me, I know how that feels within my body. I've put myself through a lot of situations of overworking myself until I get to that point to recognize that pattern and feeling and behavior within me. The next thing for me would also be like this overwhelming feeling of doom. I just have this big pit in my stomach and it's just encompasses my whole entire being. It takes over me. It kind of goes hand in hand with being paralyzed by anxiety. My personal advice when it comes to recognizing burnout before it hits is you really have to take time with yourself and truly take note of how your body reacts, your patterns and behaviors to when you're in these busy, chaotic, stressful times, because that's when burnout is more susceptible to sprout, right? Like that's when it's more susceptible to show up. And we need to start taking notes. It's kind of like that roadmap to me when it deals with trauma, like kind of like a roadmap to burnout. Like, how does your body react? How do certain maybe situations, like how do you react to certain situations when you're at your wits' end, when you're about to burn out, right? Like all of them can kind of go back to what's your roadmap to you when you're about to burn out? What are some symptoms, patterns, behaviors that you recognize? Are you more snappy when your mom's talking to you about something? I know I am. Sorry, mom. Are you more sassy? Are you angrier faster? Like all these things, like take note of it, write it down somewhere that is private and personal to you, and just take note of it. And I think that's the first step in recognizing burnout and how it shows up for you. And that's also why self care is so crucial in sustaining personal growth, because we go on these amazing experiences and sometimes we forget to just step back and take a moment for ourselves. Like even when we're on vacations, right? We're all go go go, or at least like that's how I am. I'm go 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 to the next thing cuz I want to see everything and anything. But like it's okay to take a breath, to breathe, to step back, and to like truly take in your surroundings and be in touch with you. Like it's okay to do that. That helps you avoid burnout. So, here are some of my burnout prevention tips that have actually started working for me. So, I wanted to share. So, the first things first, I'm a realist. No, but like genuinely, the first thing is prioritize your rest and recovery. So, even if that means taking an hour or two out of your day, carving some time, whether it's scrolling on your phone, going on a walk, doing some type of movement, talking to your friend, or just doing something that makes your soul feel alive, that sets a fire within you. Like it brings joy back into your life, because sometimes when we're in that almost hitting burnout or we've hit burnout, sometimes like life feels dull because we feel so unmotivated. We just don't want to do anything. I think it's really important in that rest and recovery stage to make sure that we are doing things that make us feel alive again, that make us smile, that make us laugh, that bring joy to our lives, that just make everything sparkle a little bit more. So find what that is for you and make sure to prioritize that. My second one is setting boundaries. And I know boundaries are tricky and I know it takes time to set them. Like, trust me, like, I know, like, I'm still dealing with them. But I think the first way when it comes to like avoiding burnout is truly listening to your gut and letting that steer you in the direction that it's telling you to go in, because your gut's never wrong. Like, it's always steering you in the right direction. And also, deep down, you know your bandwidth and capacity. If you can't take on another project, if you can't do X, Y, and Z, like you know it deep down. And again, that's connected to your gut. So remember the power in saying no and setting those boundaries with yourself and with others. But yeah, we are definitely doing an episode about boundaries later on. But my third one is practicing gratitude, taking 5 minutes out of your day, even if it's literally just to recenter yourself and listing three things on a piece of paper, or like in your notes app on your phone about what are you grateful for today. Just being able to practice gratitude in your everyday life really helps with that mindset. Sometimes I think of burnout as this like gloomy cloud that kind of like drifts over you and then stays there and then like pours. So in order to have the sunshine again, in order for it to peer through that gloomy cloud, I think practicing gratitude is the key in that, for your mindset to switch into a more lighter, positive vibe, because burnout really does affect your whole being in not a good way. Then my last one is be present. Avoid multitasking. I know we live in a society that praises multitasking, but in the case of avoiding burnout, we really do have to avoid it. It like multitasking takes so much brain power and it takes you everywhere. Burnout does come with that pressure of having to do everything at once, which is why sometimes we lean into multitasking tendencies, because like we want to get everything done and we think that being able to multitask and do all these things at the same time will actually be quicker and we can get further on our to-do list. We can cross things off sooner. When in all reality, multitasking kind of does slow you down. You're not able to take in the moment to be present and truly focus on one thing at a time. And I'm so guilty of this, you guys, because my brain is always going. It's going, 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 and it doesn't stop. Like it really, really doesn't stop. And I'm guilty of like this multitasking thing of just wanting to do everything at once, and because I think that I'm going to be able to delete things off of my to-do list faster. I'm able to make that cross off because there's nothing better in this world than that feeling of crossing things off on your to-do list. I know. My type A people get me on that one, okay? Like that is the best feeling in the world. And sometimes we think multitasking is the way to do it, and it's not. We need to be in the now and we need to take everything in, just like I had mentioned earlier with like the vacation example, right? Like we go, 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 go. Sometimes we forget the little moments. We forget the joys of it. Like, why are we on this vacation? It's to relax and to enjoy, and yes, to see new things, but also we're able to take time for ourselves. Like, it's a vacation. We're supposed to chill. We're supposed to take it slow. So please, please, please avoid multitasking as much as you can. I understand, but that's one of my biggest burnout tips. All right, Radiant Icons, that is your tea time sesh for today. I hope you enjoyed today's episode. If you did, make sure to subscribe, to leave a comment, rating, review, share it with your friends, share it with anyone and anyone. Honestly, because we love more Radiant Icons in our iconic community of ours. And I will never get tired of saying that, Radiant Icons, because I mean it. I love you guys so much. And I literally, truly cannot believe that after this episode, there are only 2 more episodes for 2024. And to think this is the year that Dare to Be Iconic premiered, like the podcast, like March 27th, 2024 is when we had our 3 episode premiere. And to think that in just 2 more episodes, we're closing out the year Dare to Be Iconic premiered. Like that's so wild to me. And what's even more wilder or iconic is that the last episode of 2024 is like my birthday special, you guys. Like that's so I couldn't have planned it better myself, to be honest with you. Like I truly, truly couldn't. Like that is just like chef's kiss, like beautiful. Like I love it. Because you guys know I love my birthday. I call it a national holiday. National Amanda Day is December 19th, but the episode will come out the day before my birthday. So we're celebrating early, you guys, because if I could make my birthday a month celebration, I so would. But I unfortunately cannot do that because my parents would be so sick of me. So we're just going to celebrate a day early with you guys, and then we're living it up on the 19th, which is National Amanda Day. So don't worry. Be prepared for all the Instagrams. You're going to be so sick of me. Anyway, let's talk about next week's episode. We are continuing our Everyday Icons series with my girl Bex. She is a TikTok influencer and one of my closest friends. And we are spilling the tea about self-advocacy. I think it's so important to recognize the power of using your voice, particularly when it comes to the workplace. So we both come from a performing background, and we've had to recognize the power of our voices very early on. And we just want to share that message with all of you, with all the Radiant Icons, because I love you guys so much. And I just want you to recognize that you hold so much power. And if there is something going on that is wrong or that you feel uncomfortable, anything of that nature, like you have the power to say something and to stop it. So I'm very excited for next week's episode. So make sure to subscribe and tune in because it will be an episode you don't want to miss. Okay, guys, I'm done yapping. I will talk to you guys next week. Remember, Radiant Icons, dare to be iconic. Bye.